Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are live on Facebook and YouTube for the very first time. So thank you all for joining us. We are live here on the Around the Ballpark podcast. My name is Mike Redmond. I am your host, and filling in this week as our guest co-hosts is my beautiful wife, Eileen, and my son, Aiden, are here. Darren will be back with us next week. We'll be live 1 week from tonight talking about Tampa Bay Buccaneers football, so you want to make sure you are here for that. But with that said, our guest of honor this evening, or in the morning where he is, I believe 9 a.m., is Trent-Jean, and we are going to talk. He's a singer-songwriter, and we're going to get to know him in just a few minutes. But thank you for joining us. Really excited to have you on and to get into this good conversation. But as always, before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and just give a shout out to our sponsor, Nashville Tax Solutions, Christopher Bennett and his team. We love having them. They believed in us from the very beginning when we had just under 50 subscribers, and now we're almost at 1,400 in just a few short months, which is awesome and a testament to Christopher and his team. So there's a little shout out there to Chris there, the Nashville Tax Solutions. So I'm going to go ahead and let's get to know them a little bit, and then we'll dive into it. So here we go for that. And so let's see, here we go. So in the heart of Palm Bay, where the ocean meets the sky, there's a place where tax worries meet their end. Whether you need to file years of missing returns, a current year return, or you need relief from a tax lien or levy, Nashville Tax Solutions has the solution for you. Nashville Tax Solutions is your trusted partner in the tax resolution industry. They understand the stress and confusion that tax problems can bring. That's why we're here to offer clarity, relief, and peace of mind. Our expert team of tax professionals are dedicated to providing personalized solutions tailored to your unique situation. Listen to what a few people are saying about Nashville Tax Solutions. Recently had the pleasure of working with Christopher Bennett, and I must say his knowledge and expertise in the tax matter is truly impressive. His professionalism and attention to detail were evident throughout our interactions, and I felt confident and supported every step of the way. Highly recommend Nashville Tax Solutions for their exceptional tax services because they saved me from a financial nightmare. They're not just experts in tax resolution, they're compassionate too. So don't let the tax problems weigh you down. Contact them today, 615-502-2250, their website, NashvilleTaxSolutions.com, or an email at info@NashvilleTaxSolutions.com, where tax resolution is achieved. So again, thank you so much, Christopher Bennett, and I believe he's on here watching with us. So if you are here in the comments, go ahead and give us a shout out. I see Joe is here, Marianne is here, so thank you for joining us. See a few others popping in. But with all that said, it is time to get into the good stuff. Our guest of honor, Trent-Jean, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself, just a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and then we'll dive into some stuff.
Hello, everybody. My name is Trent-Jean. I'm a singer-songwriter from Perth, Western Australia, one of the most isolated cities in the world. And I met this wonderful family through Royal Caribbean cruises on Utopia of the Seas.
Yes, and that was just a couple actually about a month ago, and we already have the itch, so we already booked our 2025 cruise, not on the same ship, but we'll be going to the Voyager of the Seas, so super excited for that. And it'll be Aiden's 18th birthday, so that's exciting. Yes. So,
Don't you can
and
drink
Brian,
in
thank you for
Australia.
joining us as well. I appreciate you being on here with us. So let's get into it. So right off the bat, Eileen, I know that one of the questions that you wanted to mention up is in terms of his involvement in getting started with music. So if you want to kind of dive into that.
Yeah, sure. So like, how did you get started with music? Like, did you grow up like with music lessons in school, or like did you just one day thought, wow, this would be really cool? And then like around what age were you when you decided this is it, this is my career, like I'm sticking with it?
It was really in my spirit since I was a kid. I remember going on a family vacation when I was about 10 years old to Mauritius. Mauritius is very special to me because that's where my father's family comes from.
Oh.
And I was about 6 years old, and I went missing one night during a family dinner. And they found me jamming with the Mauritian band.
That's funny.
And I actually got a photo of it. Comes to mind. So this is a photo where they found me jamming with the band in the Isle of Mauritius. Hold on, let's
Hey, I just saw Eddie Anthony say hi. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
And you said you were 6 years old?
Yeah, I was 6 years old, so I was just drawn to the music. And
what instrument were you playing when you were jamming with them when you were 6?
A traditional Mauritian instrument called the ravan.
Oh, what is that?
Oh, it's like a skin drum, like that you tap on. And so after that, a big influence was a family friend and local artist. Well, he was local. He lives in Melbourne now. Named James Teague. He was about 16 and I was about 10, and he was he was looking after me one night. Our parents went out for dinner, and he had an electric guitar, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. He showed me a C chord, and then I came back home and I said, I really want a guitar. And Dad said, okay, if you can prove to me that it isn't a phase, because I was known for going through many phases. I wanted to become a professional skateboarder, basketball player, inline skater, so many different things. I go through heavy phases, and he said, okay, show us that you're going to be consistent with it. So I did so for about a month, and then I got my first guitar, and I never looked back, only for periods of time in adulthood.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Because like I definitely get that as a parent. Like Aiden has gone through so many heavy phases where he's got guitars. He's had a drum set for a little while. We kind of donated that to our church, and then then he was like, "Oh, I want a skateboard," so we got him skateboards, and now he's into. He's just gone through so many heavy phases. So I totally get it. So one day he'll find his niche. One day.
Thank you.
Yes, he will.
Thank you.
I just wanted to shout out. We got 14 of us in here in the chat. Shout out Mark and Brian and Eddie, Heather, Marianne, Joe. There's so many of you in here. And go ahead and throw some questions if you have in the chat, or just let us know you're here. I appreciate all of you joining us. So, Eileen, also, I know you wanted to ask about the Royal Caribbean tie-in and all that.
Okay, yeah, right. So how does that process go? Do you like send an audition clip, or do you know someone that knows someone? Like, how do you end up getting that gig? Because that is an awesome gig, and you get so much like viewers and so many connections. And so like, how do you go about that?
So with this gig, there's so many different ways you can do it. That's one way. You go on the website, and I'm very easily distracted. So one day I will come to the extravaganza, Eddie.
Are you serious?
I'm trying to read the comments.
I'll pick you up from the airport. Let's go.
Okay. So what happened? You can audition online, send in a video. There's a whole sheet you can fill out, application process. But I found mine in a somewhat different way. I didn't even know of Royal Caribbean, to be honest. You know, before the gig.
Wow.
I thought of cruise ships. I thought as a gig that I would be doing on a cruise ship would be playing Roy Orbison to a bunch of old people at a buffet. That's literally what I thought it would be.
Oh, no.
But I wanted to see, you know, I thought cruise ships were just kind of very boring and mundane. I never knew what, you know, the world of cruising was, like Royal Caribbean was, you know?
Yeah, you got shocked, huh?
I was very shocked. So what happened was I came off a trip, which I was busking around the south of France, a place called Cap d'Agde, known for the world's largest, I'm pretty sure it's the world's largest or one of the world's largest nudist colonies. Fun fact.
Here we go.
And, I got roped into that. That's another story. Not the colony, but going to the south of France, you know. What happened was that I remember, this is a little side story which will lead into the Royal Caribbean. So I got offered a original music representation opportunity in France by someone I knew through a very dear late friend of mine. And they said, you know, I can give you, you know, how much are you getting paid in Perth for gigs? And I was like, this amount. I will triple that. Okay, I've got an investor that will drop about 50K on your record. You know, since Australia isn't supporting or appreciating your arts, France will, because, you know, of your name and being exotic from Australia, Trent-Jean, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm French Mauritian. And I thought, okay. And they then flew me over a week later. I had 200 euros to my name. Because as an aspiring original artist, all your money goes into your craft.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Most of the time, if you're very crazily passionate and irresponsible as I am, then it all goes into it, right? So you're paycheck to paycheck, you know, chasing that crazy dream, you know? So anyway, I said, okay. She said, don't be too worried. You know, when you Google this place, you'll come up with the, you know, the nudist colony, etc. And but everything's gonna be kosher. So anyway, a week later, I fly over there with 200 euros to my name, right? Because I'm like, I'm gonna make this amount of gigs. I'm gonna find some investor. You know, after over a day of travel with, you know, plane and train, I get there and it just looks like spring break. You know, a bunch of drunk, you know, 18-year-olds everywhere. I get picked up in this car with a missing headlight, to them saying, you know, don't worry, but the police may be after me. And I thought, what the F have I got myself in there? So I step into the car and we're driving. And I said, so when do I start the gigs? Because I only got 200 euros to survive a month in the south of France, right? And they go, about the gigs, there's no gigs booked. And I thought,
oh no.
Okay. And I said, what about the investor? He's not coming to meet up with us anymore. And then I actually thought, you know, what the heck am I doing here then? I've traveled, you know, halfway across the world to better my career and to find an opportunity to break through. And now I'm here where I don't even speak the language and I got no money and I'm relying on this person. So it was a crazy time. Then, you know, the next day, you know, they said, actually, I might have a gig for you and let's go to the nudist village. So anyway, we drive in and it's gated and you put this card in, open up the card, we drive in, you know, and then it's just a bunch of old dudes stark naked, you know. And I thought, I didn't travel halfway across the world to see, you know, to see this kind of this little shenanigan over here. And then I just said, nah, this ain't for me. Hey, just like drop me off in the town square. So they dropped me off in the town square. I start walking around using Google Translate to try and find some shows so I can get paid, you know?
Right.
So I was so close to getting gigs, a whole day hustling, no gigs, you know? It was so close to getting a gig at a cafe. Anyway, there you go. I think I can get you a gig at this nudist village. So we go back in there, and this time I'm in the heart of the nudist village. I've got like a button-up shirt and everyone's stark naked, but I wasn't prepared for this kind of action. So I'm like, I ain't going to start naked, but I'm going to screw it. I won't button a few. I'll let it out a bit. And everyone was looking at me like, who is this pervert? Who's this sick, twisted person with clothes on? And I knew the racist, Mamma mia. So, or should I say Mother Mia? Anyway, I get there. We go to this cafe. Everyone's sitting down like these chihuahuas, like toy dogs, butt naked, sipping their espresso. Go in to ask for a gig. We couldn't get the gig. So I go back and they go, come to a nightclub, tonight it's VIP, we can network. I go to this nightclub, personal thing, I hate nightclubs. So anyway, I go there, I'm not liking it. Anyway, that person then says I'm leaving with someone at the club and I've lost the keys to the apartment and the car. And I said, where am I going to stay tonight? And they go, I don't know. And then they drive off with this random person, and I'm stuck in this nightclub car park with a dead phone, about like 20 euros in my wallet, and amidst a bunch of people getting curb stomped while the police are doing nothing. It was a wild setting.
That sounds insane.
4 a.m. in the south of France. So anyway, I go to a police person and I say, hey, I'm from Australia. I got no money. My phone's dead. Can I go back to the the station to use the bathroom to charge my phone? And they go, no. And I'm like, so I can't go there, And they're like, no, you can't. And I said, can someone help me out? He speaks English. Maybe you can go over there. Anyway, mind my French accent. It sounds more like German. Anyway, this guy comes and he goes, yeah, I speak English. And I said, this is my predicament. He said, the best I can do is call you a cab. And I'm like, I got no money. And he's like, the best I can do is call you a cab. And I was just like, whatever. So anyway, this cab comes. I said, I got 20 euros. That's all I have. Can you bring me down to the market square? They bring me there. I've got this dead phone. I go to this, the market's open now because it's the next day, and I'm all in nightclub VIP gear, but I've been walking around. So I've got this semi-formal get up going on with dust everywhere from stomping the pavements of the south of France, the coastal side of the place. And anyway, I go into this market and I am so tired, right? Because this is shortly after I arrived.
Right.
This huge journey from Australia to the south coast of France, right? And I did an all-nighter at this club with this crazy scene unfurling. And then I go into this change room and I'm like, finally I can catch my slumber. So I sleep in the change room. And then I get kicked out by a woman yelling in France, saying that I'm scaring the, her shoppers. And then I find my way back to the apartment. It's gated, this apartment, but someone happens to go in, and I'm waiting outside. I walk in, and then I find a rock, and I sit next to the rock, and I see someone come out of the apartment, and I'm like, "Parlez-vous anglais?" And they're like, "Yes." I said, "Can I charge my phone?" Charge a phone. Anyway, that person, who arranged me to come to France stumbles in, and then says, "Sorry about last night. Anyway, I have to leave France tomorrow. Here's the keys to the apartment. Just drop it off to a friend. See you later." And I'm stuck there for a month. I don't speak. I'm like, oh, great.
Wow.
So anyway, long story short, I ended up busking in a marketplace. It was a funny story because I'm like, okay, I need to get some money so I can eat. You know what I mean? And then then I'm like, I'm gonna play music. Because in this apartment, there was a bunch of instruments. I said, I'm going to play music. I'm going to make it happen. So that night, I go into the market square and I hear music playing. And I go there and there's a crowd and there's a duo. And I hear these two Swedish girls next to me. They go, oh, I wish they could sing in English. And I say, I can sing in English. You know?
You're a superhero.
Anyway, and they said, "Oh, really?" And then like, "I'll get this guy to sing. He can sing in English." And I said, "Yeah, I can sing in English." I said, "Yeah, pass me the guitar." And I'm like, guys, I'm a bit shy. Just heads, I'm a bit shy. And then I just went hardcore and just went hectic. And everyone was like, whoa, like, that's epic. Are you famous? And I'm like, in Australia, a little
Sort
bit.
of.
That was an absolute lie. But anyway, but that got me, they loved it so much in the marketplace, the fish store next to, where I was performing said, "I'll give you free dinner, free wine. You come here and perform and I'll give you free food." I said, "Sick, awesome." So I'm like, got a place to eat, That's great. I made some friends that led to more gigs that led going down to Spain and Barcelona, busking the subways of Barcelona. This is all on my Instagram on the highlight reel. I document a lot of stuff so you can even see the footage to back up the crazy stories. Anyway, make enough money to change the flight back home a bit earlier. Arrived back in Perth with no money now because I used it on the flight back and also on this tattoo in Barcelona. This is thunder in an espresso because it ain't always storm in a teacup. Sometimes it's thunder in a double shot espresso. So I got this tattoo in the streets of Spain the night before I left because I'm like, I need to have I never got a souvenir. So I then arrived back in Perth, no money, and I'm sitting in my living room. My dad's watching Below Deck, and he goes, "Trent, why don't you sing on cruise ships?" And I said, "Okay, well, I want to see the world. I want more stories, but I don't want to stress about what I'm going to eat or, where I'm going to sleep the next day."
Right.
And I said, if that means singing Roy Orbison to a bunch of old folk, at a buffet, screw it. I want to see the world, And then I went on Facebook forums for cruise ship performers, and I uploaded a video and said, I've been playing pubs for 10 years, doing weddings, funerals, everything,
Yeah.
And an agent from Estonia reached out and they said, "We have a gig for you. We only use WhatsApp." And I thought, this seems a bit sketchy at first. They said, "We only use, I'll chat you on WhatsApp." They weren't accepting a call. And I thought that was a bit curious, So what happened is they said, "We got this gig for you though, for 3 weeks out of Brisbane with Royal Caribbean." Right. And I'm like, never heard of Royal Caribbean, but screw it. It sounds pretty good. I'm just going to do it, And then I called up the head of music and I said, "Have you heard of this agency? Because they only use WhatsApp." And I've been kind of screwed in the past before. They said, "No, they're legit. We get a lot of acts via them. It's all kosher." And I said, "Okay, sweet as." And then I just sent it and I went on that journey, and it was a crazy 3 weeks. And I thought, wow, that wasn't what I expected. That wasn't Roy Orbison in a buffet. That was Poseidon's birthday party all night long on the high seas. And I even blew my voice out. After a week, I wasn't anticipating the energy that I was about to receive. And I didn't realize how heavy Australians like to party. Because I'm a bit of I'm very low key when I ain't performing. I'm a very chill person. I don't go out really to parties.
Right.
And anyway, I finished that and I had a lot of great experiences. And I said, okay, this is, that's my cruise ship chapter finished, because it was full of wild stories. We'd be here all day, all into the early hours of the morning for y'all. And then with all that money, I pumped it into an original EP called Electric, which is out. And
I love that one. It's so good.
Thanks. It's a sweet little EP. And then I, just spent all day eating organic food and doing other irresponsible investments for my career. And then I landed behind the 8-ball again, and I was in the shower, and I looked up into the sky as the water hit my face. I was going, why didn't I do engineering? Why? Anyway, because I was, in the negatives. I'm pretty sure I had to scrape some busking coins to get an espresso the next day. So I get out of the shower, and then my emails go off on my phone. And it says, we got a 4-month contract in America. Americans like to tip. And I thought, this is my way I'm going to get out of being behind the 8 ball. Never played for Americans before. I always wanted to play in America. I kept a $20 US bill in my bedroom taped to the wall, which I had since I was 12 years old from my auntie, which she got on a trip. And I said, one day I'm going to go to America, I'm going to go, to the US, the big smoke. And I'm gonna when that opportunity comes for music, I'm gonna grab the $20 bill and I'm gonna take it with me, and I'm gonna pay it forward.
Yeah,
so I took that $20 bill off. I went on that plane. First night I played out of Bayonne on Oasis of the Seas in a pub called the Globe and Atlas, which the Globe and Atlas logo I actually have tattooed on me right here.
Cool.
Oh wow.
Because there's so many memories, with that trip. I even have a note from a guest turned friend that was written on a napkin after us sharing some drinks and tales. So this is the Globe and Atlas logo, the pub on Oasis of the Seas, and It says over here 100, with a bomb and a tire, and it says you're going big. And it was written after us having an Irish car bomb, since the bomb and the tire. And I remember, my sweet friend wrote it on a napkin, said, I'm writing this down, so I'm going to get it tattooed on me as a memento. And she wrote, you're going big. And I said, you forgot the E, And she goes, I'll write it again tomorrow. And I said, actually, no. I said, I want to keep it because there's 2 reasons behind that. Because it shows that the Globe and Atlas is a place that holds up in perfect, authentic human connection. And you're going big without the E means that going big belongs to me.
That's so tough.
Thanks. So I just sent it, and I had amazing stories. That's 4 months turned to 5 months on the high seas. And like I said, the first night of playing in Bayonne, back to that point, I discovered the American generosity of tipping, and it got me out of my debts in about 6 weeks. I had a lot of debt, and I cleared it in 6 weeks.
Wow.
And then I bought a guitar. I said the tips kept stacking up from that trip. I was so unheard of because in Australia, you're at the bar, you're lucky if you get a clap. I actually played a gig at a bar yesterday, a Sunday session. I got 3 claps for 3 hours.
What?
And no tips, obviously, because Australians don't tip really.
Meanwhile, you're on the Royal Caribbean. Some crazy lady started a conga line.
Yeah. You gotta do this, So
that leads me into my next thing I wanted to ask about. So, and I have a lot I want to make sure I try to get through in the time we have left. Got about 25 minutes, so I want to make sure. Each night, I'm sure you have all different types of crowds. I mean, you may have the same on one 3 or 4 night ship, and then you get a whole new bunch of people. But how do you handle when special requests come in? Because you're doing your thing, you got your set, you know what you're going to probably play, and I'm sure as the night goes on, later into the night, more and more requests get shouted out by people. Is there a certain how do you prepare for the unknown? Are there certain songs to just not touch, or do you usually try to give it a shot, or how does that work?
I try to always give it a shot because I feel the guests appreciate the willingness to go in blind. Because at the end of the day, I feel like your job as a cruise ship singer or as a part of Royal or like a performer in that environment, or in any environment is trying to give, uplift and reach the satisfaction of the guest and audience. To me, it's like with these gigs on the boat, I'm just like, okay, I'm here for y'all, I'm not here to be like, I'm a deep original artist and listen to my pain and listen to my mystique, I'm like, no, I can do that when I'm at home and I'm in the studio and I'm getting lost in my creativity. But when I'm on the high seas, you're the audience here, what I discovered is with Americans, y'all don't really get much vacation. In Australia, we always get, there's public holidays all the time, So a lot of, the American guests, they could be planning this for years in advance. They could be putting all their money up for this thing. This could be a lot of their family, savings for their enjoyment. So I'm like, on this and this time I want to give it my all to appease y'all, you know, like to try, you know, make that holiday experience the best it can. If that means playing Sweet Caroline, you know, twice that day, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, you know, because I'm here for y'all. I'm not here to, you know, to freaking feather my own ego. That's it.
Right.
That was one thing that we loved about you, is that you're so humble. Like, and then I'm like, oh yeah, do you have a Spotify? So you tell me your Spotify, and when I get back on land, I start listening to it, and I'm like, oh my God, like this dude's for real. And he's just like, oh hey, what's up? Like, you're so humble. And I don't know, it was really cool. Sorry, Mike. I know.
Oh no, you're good.
No, it means a lot.
Yeah.
I would like. Sorry.
I was going to say, I know, you know, we like Eileen said, we had a fantastic time. I think we spent 3.5 hours, 3 nights in a row, seeing all 3 sets, and we wouldn't, you know, have it any other way. I mean, what better spot? We're right across from pizza 24/7, right? So, one question I know Aiden had for you, I want to make sure he gets to one of those, is about creative blocks. So, Aiden, if you kind of want to ask that, because I know that's a real thing.
I don't know what.
So, you know, I'm a writer too. I write some songs. I mostly write stories, and so I struggle a lot with creative block. So what do you do when you have creative block? Like, how do you get over that?
I let it breathe in a way. You know, I don't try to force anything too heavy. With creative block, I feel like if the rut's there, maybe just let it breathe a bit. Go out and look into the sky. Enjoy a bit of your life. Refresh and come back to it. But yeah, I feel like, you know, sometimes, you know, as writers, I've seen a lot of different artists being like, if you want to be a professional writer, you got to write every single day. Treat it like a job. Treat it like but I kind of feel like, yeah, you know, you can get quantity and you can refine things, but I'm for the quality, and I want to be, you know, a receptor for higher direction, you know, higher musical guidance, because I think music's a very spiritual thing. You know, we're both people of faith. You know, what's the biggest book in the Bible? It's Psalms. You know, it's poems, it's songs. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I believe if I leave myself open and pure for some sort of guidance, you know, for that wave to come, I'll get my board out and I'll surf it, you know. Everyone asked me, did you write many songs in the last 4 months you were at sea? And I said, to be honest, no. I didn't even bring my recording gear. Normally I do that because I said, I want to live, I want to experience and enjoy the whirlwind, which is a cruise ship performer life, you know, playing every night, meeting people from different walks of life. When I get home, when I reflect, I'm going to then write about those things, you know.
Yeah, but, and one thing, what I wanted to mention, like, that's a great point. Like, you know, you would think all those months you're going to write this, you're going to write that, but living in the moment is so important. You know, I struggle. We took some videos, a couple pictures, but like most people when they go on a cruise ship, they take hundreds and hundreds. But sometimes pictures are nice, but sometimes the more pictures you're taking, the more videos you're taking, then it's taken away from that relaxing time and that special time that we don't get to do that much. So definitely, you know, there's something to that.
100%. I was looking back at my memories actually today, because to do this chat, I had to free up some storage because my phone is peaked out, you know. So, and I thought, you look back at it and it's lovely, but it's never as spectacular as the moment that you're living in. And you know, we're not, you know, that's the moment that makes us grateful to be alive and to have this experience of life on this earth. You know what I mean? So, like,
Yep. So we've got 20 minutes, so we got plenty of time to cover some more good stuff. So one of the staples, I'm going to let Eileen ask this next question, but one of the staples of the Around the Ballpark podcast, we're primarily a sports podcast, but we dip, because we call it Around the Ballpark, because on the way to a game, on the way to a stadium, we talk about other things, right? So we love to have these kind of special episodes. But one of the staples on our show we talk about in the sporting world is a Mount Rushmore. So, you know, for example, if we're talking about a Major League Baseball team, who's your Mount Rushmore?
Wait, let's find out if he knows what Mount Rushmore is, because that's an American thing.
It's the one with, you know, your political figures.
Yeah, the four main
our
presidents. Okay,
amazing
okay.
president.
Oh yeah, I promised I was going to explain that, but yeah, so
Now,
basically
excuse
in the
my
sporting world,
oblivious nature
if we're
to who's
talking
on my.
about one team
Yeah.
in particular, we're going to name the 4 best players that we think. So,
Yeah.
Eileen, what was your specific question in regards to that?
So, who would be your top 4 performers or artists?
All
For
right.
your, like, if you were making Mount Rushmore of artists, who would be on your Mount Rushmore?
I would say David Bowie,
Yes.
Hendrix,
Yes.
and I would say Lennon.
I almost, you know what? I was putting my Mount Rushmore together.
Yeah.
I almost put John Lennon. I almost did it. But I was like, I don't know. It was hard for me. So like I came up with hold on, I have it here in a file. Okay, so I don't know do you guys know of a band named Shinedown in Australia?
Yeah, they're they're kind of like metal, but
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, kind of like alternative rock. Okay, so they're like my number 1, like forever and ever and always, like always. I have Linkin Park on mine.
Okay, cool.
Being a millennial, like growing up in the 90s and the 2000s, like just barely being in high school, like that was a big, I feel like they molded a lot of I feel like they like revolutionized the scene.
Oh yeah, that's super innovative,
They really did. And their level of performance was like no other. Unfortunately, I was too young to go, but like I would see videos on YouTube and stuff like that. And then Nirvana, like also too young to go, but they revolutionized the whole scene too.
Yeah.
And then my number 4 is Aerosmith. I grew up.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah,
I just loved Aerosmith. I was constantly jamming out. I grew up in a little trailer park in Merritt Island, Florida. And so Aerosmith, and then Guns N' Roses almost made it on there too, but
they're in the parking lot. They're close. They're not.
I do have to say, Chester Bennington has got to be one of the greatest vocalists of all time. Like a 17-second scream live is crazy. Like I don't think anyone else can do that. Like that's just insane to me.
Probably right. And so I want to take it one step further, and it doesn't have to be 4, but in terms of, so I love the smaller venue shows. I just got an opportunity this past weekend to go to a small venue show in Jacksonville, Florida, and it was amazing. I prefer those to the large stadium things. I think a concert's meant to be standing up and not to be sitting in a seat and all that stuff. But is there a particular
I'll be
venue?
In my seat on December 6th, though.
Yes, we got tickets to see Creed and on December 6th, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, cool.
But is there a particular venue, and even if it's something we may not know ourselves, that's fine. We'd like to look it up. But any particular venues that are kind of on your wish list to perform at someday?
Probably Red Rocks.
Is that Colorado?
Is that in Australia?
No, I'm pretty sure it is. Like, actually, I don't even know. It could be Colorado. Yeah,
I think it's Colorado. Yeah.
It looks cool. I didn't look up where it is geographically, but like I've seen like Mayo play there and all that jazz. Yeah, to be honest, Madison Square Garden, that would be cool.
That would be a big one.
Oh, there's one place. It's called the RAC Arena, or known as the Perth Arena. It's where it's my hometown's arena. It's a dream. Each time I drive to the studio, which is on the other end of Perth, I pass it. And for years, I've tried to visualize and say, I'm going to play here one day. You're going to play here one day.
Yes.
And, that's a place that I'd love to play at, and I feel like if given the opportunity.
So I just looked it up. That thing is massive. Oh, my gosh.
The Red Rocks?
Yeah.
No, the RAC Arena he was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Yeah, 100%. I want to be doing arena shows. Like, it's a big pipe dream, but I feel like, me with my band would have the right energy to generate for the audience, and that would be fantastic.
Yeah, and so just throwing that out there, we talked about, I don't know if Eddie's still with us, but setting our goals December 2025 is our next. Well, we have one in next month, but the next family Christmas extravaganza is a huge. Myself and Eileen are on the core team that puts this event together. But over 25,000 people came last year at this event. And now it's not all it's from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So it's not all in one setting, but it's throughout the day. But it's an amazing experience. We give Christmas away for free to the community. We don't charge a dime for any vendor, for any performer, food, all that stuff is complimentary. So that would be a great opportunity to play in front of thousands and thousands of people. So, definitely we try to make that happen. But one thing I want to share is anyone that's a concert goer, when you go, you're always typically going to see the headliner, right? Or you're going to see maybe the person that goes on. But what always happens, and I feel like this is going to happen for you, someone, somewhere, sometime is going to go, you're going to be on a show and they're going to go to see the final act. And what they're going to find out is that they might be great. They're going to get to know you through that experience. And you're not going to start with that headline per se, but that's going to be your foot in the door. And I have no doubt about that. It's just a matter of time. Now, I don't want you stopping to do the Royal Caribbean thing anytime soon, but I think...
In fact, could you go on the Voyager to Mexico so we can have someone to rock out with?
I would, but I've already go down 2025
Icon, right?
For cruises now. Yeah.
You're going on Icon?
Yeah, Icon in February.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
nice.
February the 15th on there, for 2 months. And then I'll be home for a month and I'm doing my debut record. So I've been pretty busy actually since I got home. Within the first week of being back, finished my next single, which comes out in December.
Woo woo, can't wait.
It's called Longing, and it sounds really fantastic. I call it the genre psychedelic country rock pop. Yeah. It's
awesome.
I'll probably share a mix with y'all. It's going to be mastered in a week, but I can show you the mix of it actually.
Oh, sure.
I'll send you a private link.
Nice. That's one thing about your socials is that you can tell there was very little get off the ship after summer months and relax. Like there's story after story after story. You're doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
I can't even keep up with your stories.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you wanted to ask?
I had a quick question. We were talking about like the Mount Rushmore of musicians, but like if it's a tour, right? World tour of your favorite band, dead or alive, what is the perfect lineup?
That's a really great question. Lenny Kravitz.
Please don't say Taylor Swift, please. I'm just saying. Okay.
Yeah, so Lenny Kravitz would be on there. David Bowie, Lennon, Nick Cave, Hendrix. I'd say a band called Pond, their local band, which I really love their music, psychedelic rock. Tame Impala, John Mayer. My Chemical Romance.
Yes.
Michael Bublé.
Yes, that is a really weird mix-up, but I get it.
On Michael Bublé recently, though, I just started listening to him.
I reckon he's an amazing performer and beautiful voice. Like he's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'll finish it with. I could keep going on, but I'd say Hiatus Coyote. They're amazing band in Australia. Yeah, they're like neo soul experimental. Yeah, very cool band. Yeah, and then, but there's so many. Like I love so many different artists. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Yeah,
you should see Aiden's playlist on Spotify. It's an emotional whiplash because like you're listening to John Denver 1 minute and then you're like rocking out like Papa Roach the next minute, and then you're having like this romance love song. You're like, Aiden, what are you doing, man? Like,
yeah, I'll probably say Justin Bieber as well.
My playlist.
Throw it in there.
You're a believer.
I am a believer. I'm a believer if I tried to do.
So speaking of believing, I know Aiden had to ask you this question. This is important to him to ask you. So about the coffee in Australia. So go ahead, Aiden. You have the floor with this one.
Oh, I do. Hang on. Let me.
I'm going to say thank you to my coffee sponsor, Brew Coffee Roasters, best coffee in Western Australia. Best roasters in Western Australia. All right.
So,
Yeah.
you mentioned that you were excited to get coffee from back home. So what makes it so much better than like American coffee?
I feel like in general, like this, it's more of a. I think it's the way that Australians take things a bit slower. It isn't so rushed, you know.
Yeah.
It isn't so in a way like this is very general statement, you know, commercialized / capitalized in a way. You know, there's a lot more boutique eateries and roasters, you know. We don't have a lot of chains, you know, in Australia for coffee. We do have some, but it's not like we ain't got the Starbucks and the Dunkins and all, you know, because no one really goes for it. I think, yeah, we're kind of stigglers for things that are a bit niche.
Yeah. I think we can all agree, though, we love Royal Caribbean. If I had to rank everything about the ship, it'd be like 10 out of 10, except for the coffee.
That would be amazing. I feel like that's something that needs to improve as well. Like, I am loyal to Royal, you know, as a performer, as a seafarer, you know, but if the coffee could step out, that'd be fantastic.
Yes,
I remember.
Yeah, the coffee was trash. It was so
I remember
bad.
like I was just like my first time. I'm like, okay, because I've double shot espresso every day, but I tried one. I'm like, this is like battery acid. I can't wait to go back home and have normal coffee.
Yeah, it's like the gas station that's, you know, coffee that's been sitting on the pot for hours, kind of bad. So
I got a question that I don't.
Apologies.
I got a question that I don't think I wrote down. I'm not sure if I did or not. But so for out of your, I wouldn't even. Is it an album or is it just a bunch of singles that you released?
I had an EP, but it's mainly singles, you know. But I am working.
So
on
my favorite is Blue. Like I feel like if you were gonna make a music video for that, I feel like people need to be surfing and like. I don't know, teenagers need to be partying at the beach with a bonfire. It's like, it just seems so like youthful and like punky to me.
I wrote that, you know, I co-wrote that one with a friend of mine, you know, a real sweet friend of mine named Michael Whitehead, who was on Oasis of the Seas. That song was first that, you know, kind of like conceptualized on the high seas. He was it was called Portside Barbecue, and they had a solo artist playing country music, and he would play country music, and we linked up just from being, you know, on the boat, and he said, I write songs as well. Showed each other some songs, and one day he had this hook, and it was like ba-da-bum, ba-da-ba-da-bum, ba-bum-bum, ba-da-da-da-da. And I was just like, damn, that's so cool. It's like early 2000s pop rock. I'm like, you know, I was always playing on my head, but I'm like, if I release something like that, would it be a bit, you know, corny if it's done like, if it's done.
I think you nailed it.
And then we kind of took it, and I thought, how can we make this like fun, you know?
Yeah.
Fun and, you know, refreshing. And then, you know, we worked on a bunch of it, and then I took it back home, and I worked on it with a mate of mine named Robbie Corbett, and he's also in my band called Kwan Butchar. So I've started a psychedelic rock band. And we're doing an EP currently. We've dived into it, and that will be out hopefully December, if not January. You know, Sunshine and Hurricanes is the name of the EP. And so, yeah, he's apprentice of a great man that I make all my music with named Rob Grant, the owner of Poon's Head Studios, which I have the address tattooed on my arm over here.
If lost, please return.
Yes, that's read my mind. And anyway, so we worked on the song, and then we basically recorded and produced it all from his bedroom and his home studio, you know, in his room, and we finished it, and then that came out to be Blue. But I feel like we did nail it as well, and it also got an award recently.
Really?
A songwriting competition called Unsigned Only. It won a promotional category. And I think it's a really fantastic song. You know, love writing music, but I'm happy that you like that song. I feel like the
I love
chorus
it.
is so fantastic. Like if it was
It
released
really
in the early
is.
2000s, it sounds like a hit chorus. But,
It does. It's very punky. It kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of like being a teenager myself. So, I mean,
I'm
I'm not
happy.
that
So I
old,
wanted that thing, that youthful vibe of Jonas Brothers and all that kind of jazz. And you know, when you're
Yes.
younger, you know, like I said, my musical inspirations and you know, resonance is so eclectic and spread across the spectrum. You know, like Michael Bublé, Bieber, but then like psychedelic rock and you know the legends. And it's like, to me, it's like you know, music is like food. You know, and I want my discography. For cruisers out there being a royal, I want my discography to be a premium class windjammer of sounds.
Yeah.
Washy.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I know everyone here already knows because I won't shut up about it, but my favorite is Crescent Moon. I love that song so much.
Thanks
Yeah,
so
it's
much.
good.
I'm so happy. I do as well. That was the first song I ever wrote on the high seas.
And I love that you incorporate some originals with your sets, because obviously, you know, they want to hear this, they want to hear that. But you'll be surprised though, like they may not recognize it that first night, but when they come back night 2 and 3, they're going to be asking to hear it again. And so I appreciated that when we saw your sets, that you would throw some of your stuff in there. So definitely encourage you to continue to do that.
Crescent Moon was really special to me, and it is really special to me. You know, it just came upon like, I'd love to talk a little bit about the story in about 2 minutes. Let's try to squeeze it in.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, with Crescent Moon, I remember I met somebody on the boat, and I had 3 weeks left of my contract, and I said, no, I'm not gonna fall or pursue this person, but the electricity of the high seas thought otherwise, and it brought us together one night. Went to a Latin party, and she was very savvy in Latin dancing, and she was a Latina. Anyway, we were dancing one night, and it was just like electric, and I knew a special spot on top of the ship that was shown to me by a veteran Royal Caribbean performer, and you had an amazing vantage point of the stars. And I said, I'm going to take you up to the top of this boat, and I'm going to show you all the stars. Anyway, we get there, and she was like, Trent, there's no stars out, as there were not any stars in the sky sprawled out, as there usually are. And I said, they're usually up here, but then I looked to my left, and there's this glowing crescent moon. And I said, you see that over there? I said, that's the crescent moon. It's the thing that's even more spectacular that comes around when you are just about to lose hope on that thing that you're initially searching for. And then she turns to me and says, Trent, you know, and she pulls out a necklace, and it has a crescent moon. And I said, oh, great. And then that was the trap door to the most confusing, romantic, fiery 3 weeks ever. Yeah. And I wrote that song in less than a week. And it was basically completed, the majority written, while I was on the helipad when we were docked in Haiti. And when she came back from her trip out on Haiti, while I was writing the song, I sung it to her. And yeah, and it was a very special song. And it's so funny because one of the lines was, I saw the bond a bit like utopia, where you can never really grasp its awe. And then my last cruise was Utopia, and it was my favorite.
I know. That was really, I was always wondering. So I was listening to the lyrics, and I was like, did he plan that? Or was that just a happy accident?
It was a happy accident for that. It was something that she said, well, at the Windjammer, and she pointed out, you know, to his view, and she said, it's like we're like in Utopia, Trent. This is Utopia. Oh. But we could never really be together due to many different factors. And it really kind of, it really ate at me. And that's where the line came, you know, like it was just this thing that was so fantastical, but I could never really grasp its all. Like it wasn't tangible. So it's just a fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my mom vibe kicks in, and I'm like, where is she now? Let's go get her.
Oh, no, that would be a terrible idea.
Oh, okay.
It was very smart that we parted ways for multiple reasons, but I'm so happy it birthed 2 of my songs. It birthed Crescent Moon, and then
Blind.
Blind. Yeah.
Yeah.
one thing I love is when an artist is able to, because you mentioned, oh, do you mind if I share this quick story? I think the audience loves that. Like, yes, we go and we're like, oh, we want to know what the set's going to be. But you would think some people want to hear next song. But there's something about those songs that are near and dear to the heart like that it's worth taking that 2 to 3 minutes to catch your breath, especially on a big show too. But to share that, because then it becomes not just a song after a song after song, becomes like a roller coaster of emotions. And I always appreciate that when an artist is able to take that a few extra minutes and let them know, like, this is where this song was birthed. And it's not just lyrics to me. It's so much more. It's my life,
Yeah.
So,
And I think as humans, like, we all get related. We all think, oh, we're so special. We're so busy. I'm so this, I'm so that. And then you hear this song that a complete stranger wrote and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel that way too. And like, what? And then there's like this sense of unity that comes from some of these lyrics that I just think it's phenomenal. So thank you so much for writing such great lyrics.
Thank you for resonating
and being
with me.
so creative, and just, you blessed us like so much on that trip. That was such a great trip.
It is symbiotic, the way you say you blessed us, because y'all blessed me, on that trip. Because to me, it's like everything, works in one. We're all connected as one,
Yeah.
Even you tie back to the Bible, like we've got the same ancestors, you know what I mean? Like we're all kind of like tied into one when you can bring it down to the stem of everything.
Oh,
yeah. But it's just like,
especially with Aiden becoming 18 very soon, that was one of those moments like, you know what, this is something we're all going to do together. We're going to go this night, and we're going to listen to you play and just, let the lyrics.
Well, thank you for that. I want to bring in, like, I loved about y'all, it was your willingness to express your love and living in the moment. I remember when I often ask people to come and have a dance, ask a couple to do it. And more times than not, they get a bit shy, but I played a song and y'all danced to it, Mike and Eileen danced, and it was wonderful. And you embraced your love in the pub, in a public setting. And I thought that's a wonderful thing, because I feel like love should be embraced and love should be put out there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, definitely. So I wish we had more time, but thank you so much. And thanks for sharing that. That means a lot. We didn't think twice. As soon as that request was there, we're like, yep, let's go do it. I know in the past,
Mike knows. Okay, I'll dance I love dancing. I don't care. I love being in the spotlight. I don't care. So Mike knows. As soon as I'm like, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so, it was wonderful. That's what I hope for. Like, I look at your family, I think that's wonderful. Like y'all are so loving and unique, and like just doing this as a family, the podcast, it's something that I'd want to do in the future, if I live long enough to have my own family. But I think it's a really wonderful thing,
Amen. Thank you so much. And I know it's, we got to wrap it up. So we will let you go. Definitely send us, you mentioned you're going to have that ready soon. Send us that. Last thing I just want to share, if the stars align, we'd love to, you blessed us. We want to bless you back. If the stars align, we'd love to perhaps maybe go to breakfast the day before you board the ship in February. Just kind of reach out. We'd love to meal on us just to bless you. So
that would be so cool.
Oh yeah,
I'll be in Miami,
are you sailing out of Port Canaveral the next time?
No, I'll be in Miami.
Oh yeah,
Miami this time.
That's like 5 hours away.
I was thinking might be Port Canaveral again. So, but the stars will align at some point for sure.
Yeah, amen.
But all right, well, thank you so much. Thanks everyone for watching. All of you, so many of you on Facebook, on YouTube, and commenting throughout here. Just again, means so much to us. We're going to hit our goal of 1,500 subscribers by the end of the year. So with that said, thank you, Trent-Jean. Thank you, Aiden, Eileen. This has been a blast. And until next time, we'll see you around the ballpark.
Adios.